You might think you're bad with money, or lazy, or undisciplined. But what if the real problem isn't how you spend money? It's how you think about it. Because every financial decision you make, whether it's saving, overspending, avoiding your bank account, or feeling guilty when you succeed, is shaped by a set of beliefs you didn't choose. Beliefs you picked up when you were 7 years old. Beliefs whispered to you by your parents, your culture, or your environment. Some of those beliefs might be helping you, but others, they're quietly holding you back. In this video, we're going to unpack 7 hidden money beliefs. The kind that shape your future without ever showing up in your bank balance. And if you stay to the end, I'll also share the one belief almost everyone gets wrong about money, and a truth about financial freedom that might completely change how you see wealth. We rarely say it out loud, but deep down, a lot of us carry this quiet belief. I'm just bad with money, not because we've crunched the numbers, not because we've tried and failed, but because somewhere along the way, we absorbed it. Maybe it started in childhood. Maybe you watched your parents argue about money, or you were told it was rude to talk about it, or that wanting more made you greedy. You internalized the tension, and without realizing it, you turned it into a story about yourself. And now, even when you try to take control, you hesitate. You feel shame about spending, guilt when you save too much, overwhelmed when you try to budget. You scroll past financial advice because it feels like it's not for you. That's what belief does. It filters reality. But here's the truth most people never hear. Being good with money isn't a personality trait. It's a skill. And like any skill, it starts with permission to practice without shame. So instead of believing, I'm just bad with money, try this. I've never been taught how, but I can learn, and I will. That's not delusion. That's the first step out of financial paralysis. And if that idea hits home, you're not alone. One of my favorite books, The Psychology of Money, completely shifted how I saw this. If you'd like me to break it down in a future video, drop a comment. I'd love to explore it with you. And if that idea hits home, you're not alone. But here's the twist. That belief doesn't just cost you money. It affects how much of it you let yourself keep. That's where our next belief sneaks in, disguised as something noble. You've probably heard it since you were 5 years old. Money doesn't grow on trees. It slips out at the grocery store when something feels too expensive, at home, when the bills pile up, or when a kid innocently asks for something and gets a sigh instead of an answer. It sounds responsible, reasonable. But the lesson it plants goes much deeper, because when you grow up hearing it, you don't just learn that money is limited. You start believing it's always just out of reach, that there's never enough, that life is one long negotiation between desire and guilt. So you hesitate to ask for a raise, because you should be grateful to even have a job. You cut back on small joys, not because they'll ruin your budget, but because deep down, you think you don't deserve them. You treat financial stress as normal, and the cycle repeats, passed down to the next generation. But here's the twist most people never hear. That phrase was never about reality. It was a coping mechanism, a way for our parents and their parents to make sense of struggle in a world where options felt brutally limited. And we can honor their resilience without inheriting their scarcity. Because today, money does regenerate. It flows where value is created. And while it still takes work and intention, it's no longer capped by the hours you can grind through with your own hands. There are more paths than ever before. Investing, building, scaling, digital tools, global markets. But if you believe money is fragile and rare, you'll never step onto those paths. You'll stay small, not because of reality, but because of what you believe reality is. So here's a better belief. Money doesn't grow on trees, but it does grow through creativity, value, and courage. And maybe you'll be the first in your family to stop passing down scarcity and start passing down strategy. I'm curious. What's the money phrase you grew up hearing the most? Drop it in the comments, because I might turn some of your answers into future videos. And if you want to see those breakdowns when they come out, hit subscribe so you don't miss them. But here's what most people miss. Money was never supposed to bring happiness. That's not its job. Money gives you options. Money gives you time. Money gives you space. Happiness, that's built in what you do with those things. And here's the deeper problem. When you believe money and happiness don't mix, you stop seeing money as a tool and start seeing it as a threat. So you avoid talking about money, you feel guilty for wanting more, you accept financial stress as just part of life, and you shrink your dreams to fit your budget instead of expanding your budget to match your dreams. This belief doesn't always shout, it whispers. It shows up when you delay travel, passion projects, or time with loved ones. Not because they're impossible, but because money feels unworthy of the pursuit. You feel tension when others talk about wealth. You resent people who have it without ever asking how they built it. You confuse suffering with virtue, like financial struggle is proof you're living a real life. But here's the truth. Money is just a tool, and the best thing it can buy, time. As Morgan Housel, author of The Psychology of Money, puts it, controlling your time is the highest dividend money pays. Not yachts, not private jets, just a Tuesday afternoon where you're not rushing, where you get to choose. Choose rest, choose connection, choose you. That's happiness. And yes, money helps. So here's a better belief to carry forward. Money can't buy happiness, but it can buy freedom, and freedom makes happiness possible. And if money can enable happiness, why do so many people still feel a quiet discomfort around wealth? Like having too much of it says something bad about who you are. Let's talk about that. This belief doesn't always sound harsh. Sometimes it's just a shrug. Well, they probably got lucky. Must be nice when your parents pay for everything. Or they must have cheated the system. It's a defense mechanism. Because if wealthy people are corrupt, privileged, or just plain lucky, then you don't have to compare yourself. You don't have to feel behind. And you certainly don't have to try. Because you're the ethical one. But here's the danger. That belief doesn't protect you. It paralyzes you. It creates a false divide, where you either stay good and broke, or get rich and become the villain. No wonder so many people self-sabotage their financial goals. They don't want the side eyes, they don't want to be a sellout, they want security, betrayal, but not at the cost of being misunderstood. But here's what gets lost. Wealth is a mirror. It amplifies who you already are. If you're kind, thoughtful, and generous, money gives you more ways to show it. If you're selfish or dishonest, yes, money might magnify that too. But money itself isn't good or bad. It's neutral. It's a tool. And here's the truth. Yes, some people got lucky. Yes, some people cheated. And yes, some were born into wealth, with connections and a head start you didn't get. But let's not pretend that's the whole story, because many built wealth the hard way. Through quiet discipline, when no one was watching. Through value creation, no one noticed. Through smart decisions that didn't pay off right away. Through long games that took years of belief, patience, and grit. They didn't win because they cut corners. They won because they stayed in the game. When others quit, doubted, or got distracted. And here's what matters most. You can do that too. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need the perfect background. You just need to keep showing up with clarity, with consistency, and a belief that your future is worth building, because it is. So here's a better belief to carry forward. Money doesn't change who you are. It reveals more of it. And if you like who you are, there's nothing wrong with wanting more to work with. In fact, wealth can be one of the strongest amplifiers of the good you're already doing. It gives you the power to back your values with action, to create security not just for yourself, but for the people you care about, to fund opportunities, ideas, and communities that would never exist without you. And that's the hidden truth most people miss. Wealth doesn't make you the villain in the story. It gives you a bigger role to play, and you get to decide what that role looks like. And here's where it gets even trickier, because sometimes it's not just what we believe about others with money, it's what we believe money might do to us. This one runs deep. It shows up as guilt when you ask for a raise, shame when you dream a little bigger, or hesitation when you say what you really want. We're taught, often from childhood, that ambition should be quiet, that success should be humble, and that wanting more money is somehow wrong. Greedy, selfish, unspiritual, materialistic. But let's challenge that. Wanting money isn't the same as worshipping it. You can value money without being consumed by it. You can seek financial growth, not to buy 10 watches, but to buy time, safety, and options. Here's the irony. The people most afraid of becoming selfish with money are often the ones who would use it to do the most good, to care for family, to donate with impact, to lift others, not just themselves. Let's also name the cultural forces behind this. In Australia and many other countries, there's a quiet social expectation called tall poppy syndrome. If you grow too much, stand out too far, or succeed too openly, someone will try to cut you down. That fear of seeming too ambitious or too full of yourself keeps people playing small, especially when it comes to money. But here's the truth. Money doesn't create greed. It reveals values. If you're kind, thoughtful, and generous, money gives you more ways to show it. If you're selfish or dishonest, yes, money might magnify that too. But the money itself, it's neutral, it's a tool. So here's a better belief to try. Wanting money isn't selfish. It's a form of self-respect and a tool for greater good. Let that sink in. But even if you do want more and believe you deserve it, there's another belief that slips in quietly, and it sounds almost noble. You've probably told yourself this one before. I just need to work harder to fix this. That's it, right? No excuses, no shortcuts, just hustle. It feels admirable, even heroic. You stay late, you grind, you push harder. Because that's what most of us were taught, that hard work is the path to success. That if you're not where you want to be yet, you must not be trying hard enough. But here's the sting. Hard work is necessary, but it isn't always sufficient. Some of the hardest working people in the world are underpaid, overlooked, and exhausted. Not because they are lazy, but because the system doesn't reward effort. It rewards leverage. Think about it. You've met someone who works 60+ hours a week and still feels stuck, and someone else who works a fewer hours but builds systems, makes smart bets, and gets ahead. It's not about effort, it's about leverage. The danger of this belief is that it makes you double down on the same broken approach. Instead of asking new questions, you just grind harder. Is this even the right ladder? Am I solving the right problem? Is there a smarter way forward? Because working harder on the wrong strategy doesn't lead to growth. It leads to burnout. It leads to resentment. It leaves you wondering why you're running so fast, but not moving ahead. And for many people, this belief is tied to identity. If you see yourself as reliable, capable, and strong, you're even more likely to wear overwork like a badge of honor. But money doesn't just reward effort. It rewards clarity. It rewards systems. It rewards asking, how can I get the same outcome with less time, less stress, and more sustainability? That's not laziness, that's leverage. And that's the future you deserve to build. So here's a better belief. Hard work matters, but direction, strategy, and leverage matter more. When you combine those things, that's when everything starts to shove. If it worked for them, it should work for me. That's the quiet assumption that leads people to follow the crowd. You see your friend buy a house, and suddenly, you feel behind. You hear about someone investing in ETFs, so you open an account, even if you don't really understand it. Your parents stayed in one job for 30 years, so you feel guilty for wanting to pivot after 3. It's not that you consciously copy others, it's that you absorb their timeline, their milestones, their moves, and assume they must be the right ones. But here's the problem. Just because it worked for them doesn't mean it will or should work for you. They might have different values, different goals, different privileges or responsibilities you can't see. Worse, their version of working might be nothing like yours. They might be quietly miserable, or stretched too thin, or just winging it like everyone else. And look, learning from others is smart. You should take notes. You can follow examples, but only when you filter them through your own lens. That starts with a simple but often overlooked question. What do I want to feel more of in my life? Not what to buy, not what to do, but what to feel. Whether that's freedom, stability, purpose, calm, creativity, or connection. From there, ask, what creates those feelings for me? Is it flexible work, time in nature, financial cushion, creative projects? That's how you define your must-haves. And your life-enhancing nice-to-haves. And when you start structuring your decisions around those, you're no longer chasing someone else's dream. You're building a life that actually fits you. As Morgan Housel, the author of The Psychology of Money, puts it, the most powerful way to grow your wealth is to live a life that makes sense to you, not one that looks good to others. So here's a better belief to try. Other people's paths can inspire me, but they don't define me. When you live by that, you stop performing success and start creating it on your own terms. You've made it this far, which already says something about you. You're not just curious about money, you're ready to unlearn what's holding you back. So before we wrap up, here are 2 bonus insights that rarely get talked about, but quietly shape everything. It's one of the most natural assumptions and one of the most dangerous, because money can help. It creates options, reduces stress, opens doors, but it doesn't fix your habits. It doesn't rewrite your beliefs. It doesn't teach you how to set boundaries, spend intentionally, or live aligned with your values. In fact, if you're not clear on those things before you earn more, having more money might just amplify your stress and confusion. That's why so many high-income earners still live paycheck to paycheck, or feel just as anxious as they did when they were broke, because they raised their income but never changed their system. So instead of chasing more as the solution, chase clarity about what matters, about what fuels your values, and about what habits will still serve you no matter the number in your account. Most of your money story was written before you even had any, from the way your parents talked about bills, to how arguments happened when money was tight, to what you observed in your community. Those early experiences built financial identity. And unless you've stopped to examine it, you're probably still acting from it even now. The good news? You're not stuck with it. Just like you can upgrade your skills, you can upgrade your beliefs. And often that starts not with spreadsheets, but with reflection. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Who did I learn this from? Is it still serving me? Because once you see the belief, you can change it. And that's when money starts working for you, not against you. These beliefs, they weren't born with you. They were planted by parents, culture, fear, and repetition. But now that you can see them, you can choose which ones to keep and which ones to finally let go. Before we wrap up, remember this. Your beliefs aren't fixed, they're choices. And the moment you choose differently, your outcomes begin to shift. To be perfect with money, you just need to be conscious. You didn't choose these beliefs. They were planted by parents, culture, and repetition. But now you can see them, and that means you get to choose which ones to keep and which ones to finally let go. So, which one of these beliefs hits you the hardest? And which one are you ready to replace? Let me know in the comments. And if this sparked something for you, I'd love to dive deeper into more financial psychology, especially books like The Psychology of Money, one of my personal favorites. Just say the word. Because the truth is, most people are trying to build wealth using tools that were never designed for them. But here, we decode the system, so you can play your own game. And if this helped, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because money beliefs don't just shape you. They ripple through generations. So tell me in the comments, which force surprised you most and why? Subscribe to Hidden Economics for more breakdowns. And hit like to help more people discover this channel. Stay curious, stay sharp, decode the system. Play your own game. I'll see you in the next one.